Hi everyone, we are here to present the interim presentation for the analysis and redesign of the fountain pen. The product that we chose, the fountain pen, the CAD for the product is on the right. With current production volume of up to 1.5 billion units, we are primarily targeting the customer base as the early grade students and business professionals. And the change that we are proposing is a retracting nib mechanism. And for the secondary customer base, in order to solve the flow issues with ink, we have introduced a rotational nib mechanism for calligraphy artists. This is the CAD exploded view for all the parts with the part names, which will be used throughout the slide.
The function analysis system technique diagram pictured here describes the functions the ink pen must perform. We have two main functive branches that relate to writing information, which are containing ink and dispensing ink. Ink is contained by defining the volume and creating an enclosure. Ink is dispensed by creating an opening, generating flow, and maintaining flow.
Two fishbone assembly diagrams were created for the original products. The first fishbone assembly diagram describes two separate housings having their subassemblies built onto each other before joining. The second assembly diagram involves these assemblies being joined together first before all subassemblies are added onto these parts. These two assembly sequences were compared together numerically, and it was found that the first sequence was better because of the ease of testing subassemblies and the ease of creating these subassemblies in parallel.
This is our function component mapping matrix. We map the 17 components of the fountain pen to the leaves of the fast diagram. Many components perform more than one function. Functions with the greatest number of parts are elimination of gaps, followed by generation of flow and maintenance of flow.
Since we decided to change the mechanism to target the primary and secondary customer variants, we have an FCMM for the redesigned product. The products that are more expensive and important according to the bill of materials were either consolidated or removed. Since you can see from the nib plus feeder or the feeder housing and container, the other parts were added to optimize discharge.
The bill of materials for the fountain pen, which includes all the part numbers and the part names. With a total of 18 parts, the most common material we found was plastic and stainless steel, with injection molding being the prevalent manufacturing process. The total unit cost per fountain pen came to $17.18. Next slide, please. In terms of the quad chart, we mainly focused on part consolidation and part integration, which is found in the green cell, where we applied the principles of DfMA for part 1 and part 14, for example, the grip and the body, and the feeder housing and the feeder.
For the functional differentiation table, we differentiated the functions from the fast diagram that are common for the customer variants and that are different. Almost all the functions are common for the variants because the main function of a fountain pen is to write information. The only function that differs is the ink discharge optimization, which is mainly important in case of the rotating pen mechanism for calligraphy artists.
The component commonality table deals with the platforms and the modules. Platforms are the common functions, but common features between the two variants, and modules are the differentiating features between the two variants. Our modules are piston, retraction mechanism stopper, and rotation spring.
Now we have the assembly sequences for the product family design. The first is the primary customer variant that has the retracting nib mechanism. The assembly sequence 1 is the better one, so we modified it and we have added the retraction mechanism subassembly before the other parts. The secondary customer variant assembly sequence is similar to the primary one, but in exception there is only an extra rotation spring that provides functionality for the rotating nib mechanism.
Coming to the module differentiation, the piston and the retraction mechanism stopper in the primary customer design and secondary customer design are different in terms of the presence of gears to facilitate the rotating nib mechanism. Additionally, as it can be seen that the retraction mechanism stopper has vertical retainers to prevent the spring from spilling out of the mechanism. Additionally, the rotation spring is present only in the secondary customer design. Coming to the common interfaces and plugin of modules, the retraction mechanism stopper is one such module that can be plugged in from both the designs. The rotation mechanism spring is an additional feature in the secondary customer variant. And the piston housing is also another module that can be plugged into both variants, with the exception of having gears on one of them. Coming to the product family diagram, the initial assembly sequence is similar for both variants. When it comes to retraction mechanism stopper, both have different designs. The yellow one is for the primary customer variant, the blue one is for the secondary customer variant. There is an extra rotation spring in the secondary customer variant. And finally, there is one last differentiation of the piston in two variants. The subsequent processes in the assembly are similar. Thank you.